You didn't actually want to buy that. Your brain did. Every impulse buy, every just one more click at checkout, every time you told yourself, I deserve this, that wasn't really a decision. It was a chemical reaction happening inside your skull. And marketers have spent billions of dollars learning exactly how to trigger it. Today, I'm breaking down the real neuroscience behind why you overspend and exactly how to use it against the system instead of letting it use you. Here's what we're covering. First, the actual brain chemistry behind spending and why it's not what you think. Second, why swiping a card feels less painful than handing over cash, and why that difference is costing Americans billions. Third, the sneaky tactics retailers use to hijack that chemistry on purpose. And finally, the simple, science-backed tricks that let you keep the excitement of spending without wrecking your finances. Stick around because the fix in Section 4 is the one thing that changed how I personally save money. Here's the twist neuroscientists uncovered that most people get wrong. You'd assume dopamine is the feel-good, I'm happy now chemical. It's not. Researcher Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan found your brain actually runs two separate systems, one for wanting and one for liking. Dopamine fuels the wanting, the craving, the anticipation, the itch to buy. A completely different system, your opioid circuits, handles the actual liking, the pleasure once you have the thing. And here's the kicker. Dopamine peaks before you buy, not after. That means the checkout screen, the add to cart button, the countdown timer, that's the most intense part of the entire experience. By the time the package arrives, your brain has already moved on to wanting the next thing. That's why a closet full of stuff never feels like enough. You were never chasing satisfaction. You were chasing the chase. But here's where it gets worse. The actual method you pay with is quietly doubling how much you spend. I'll show you the study that proves it in just a second. Behavioral economists call this the pain of paying. Handing over physical cash triggers a small but real emotional wince. You feel the money leaving. Tapping a card or your phone triggers almost nothing. Your brain barely registers it as a loss at all. That gap isn't small. Classic research out of MIT found people were willing to bid dramatically more for the exact same item when paying by card instead of cash, because the card removes the psychological break. And this isn't theoretical anymore. Total US credit card debt just crossed $1.28 trillion, with the average American now carrying around $6,700 in revolving balances at interest rates above 20%. That's not because Americans suddenly got worse at math. It's because every tap, swipe, and one-click checkout is engineered to remove friction. And friction is the only thing standing between your dopamine spike and your bank account. Once you understand the wanting system, you start seeing it everywhere. Only 2 left in stock triggers scarcity. A countdown timer triggers urgency. 12 people are viewing this right now triggers social proof and FOMO. None of these are accidents. They're deliberately engineered to spike dopamine before your logical brain gets a chance to weigh in. And it's working at a massive scale. Recent surveys show more than 3 in 4 consumers bought something specifically to improve their mood in the past month, but fewer than half of them actually felt they could afford it. That gap between I bought it and I could afford it is exactly where financial stress lives. Your brain also plays tricks with where money comes from, something economists call mental accounting. $100 from your paycheck feels serious. You budget it carefully. But a $100 tax refund, a bonus, or birthday cash feels like free money, even though it spends exactly the same. That's why windfalls disappear so fast. Your brain literally treats identical dollars differently depending on the story attached to them. The fix isn't complicated, but it is counterintuitive. The moment any extra money hits your account, mentally relabel it as real money before you decide what to do with it. That single reframe closes one of the biggest leaks in the average person's budget. Okay, now that you know exactly how your brain gets hijacked, let's fix it. These next 4 tricks take less than 60 seconds each to set up, and they work with your brain chemistry instead of fighting it. Tool 1, the 24-hour rule. Any non-essential purchase over $50 goes on a waiting list for a full day. This alone kills most impulse buys because dopamine spikes fast and fades fast. You're just waiting out the chemical, not fighting willpower. Tool 2, for your discretionary spending, eating out, entertainment, hobbies, switch to cash or a debit card instead of credit. You're reintroducing that pain of paying on purpose, right where you need the break the most. Tool 3, turn off shopping app notifications and unsubscribe from retail emails. You can't resist a trigger you never see. And tool 4, my favorite, build a dedicated, guilt-free fun money line into your budget. Say $100 a month you're allowed to spend on absolutely anything. No questions asked. This sounds backwards, but it works because it satisfies the wanting system on a schedule you control, instead of letting it ambush you at the worst possible moment. Here's the real takeaway. You were never bad with money. You were running factory default brain settings that were never designed for one-click checkouts and infinite scrolling. Once you see the wanting system for what it is, you stop fighting yourself and start working with your own wiring. Try just one of these 4 tools this week. I'd start with the 24-hour rule and watch what happens to your bank account by next month. If this helped you understand your own spending a little better, subscribe for more videos that turn the psychology of money into simple, usable strategy. I'll see you in the next one.